Welcome, weirdos. It's me, Daniel.
And his brother Jake. You'll.
Jake, you.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm jealous of all the extra syllables.
Well, I mean, I guess. I mean, Jake's not your real name, but it's what we've called you your entire life. But even your real name is only one syllable.
That's right. Although I could hyphenate my last name and take like my wife's last name. Just to add...
I mean, that would be very modern. It'd be very modern of you.
Yes, yeah. As you know, I've written a novel that I have some funny stories about this. But...
Was it called Kijiji Looking for House Cleaner?
You saw that, did you?
Well, I couldn't get through it all. The first chapter was hard.
It worked. That ad worked. I found a house cleaner.
That can read, apparently.
Yeah. They're either literate or impressed just by the volume of letters I can string together. No, I wrote a novel, Oliver Bell and the Infinite Multiverse.
Oh yes,
It's funny. I probably sent you a copy that immediately was discarded, but
well, you did, but I honestly haven't read it yet. I thought that I would read it on the plane, but then I didn't want to.
Then you were, yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, I can watch TikTok on the plane. Why would I read
That's exactly what I did.
Anyway, this is a fun book. It's funny. It's light. It's lighthearted.
So it's not very long.
No, it's not. It's not too long.
It's light. Get it?
Yeah. Anyway, it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to make you feel good when you read it. It's a satire. It skewers, like, how there's always protests about everything. That's a big part of it. Anyway, so I wrote it, but I'm trying to find an agency because I was like, you know what? I never actually make an effort on anything. I wrote another book. I was like, chuck it on Amazon, never even formatted it. It looks like shit. It sold 63 copies. This one, I was like, you know what? I'd like to make a go of this. So I hired an editor. I spent a couple $1,000 in having this thing edited and then copy edited. And so it looks good. But now I'm at crossroads because I need to find an agent if I actually want this book to get published.
Yeah.
And every fucking agency, on their landing page, it says, first of all, which unceded territory they're in. And then it's a bunch of stuff about like, we are into the representation of oppressed voices and BIPOC and whatever. And I just think, fuck, I'm never going to find somebody in this country who's even willing to put their eyeballs on this book.
Is it racist?
No, but I'm white. Which might be a shock to our listeners because I know I have that deep baritone. You thought, perhaps I was a black man, but I'm not.
What was I going to say? But I think all of the big companies are now putting that on there because otherwise there are repercussions to not do that. So I wouldn't let that.
Well, it's like the fucking mob. It's like the fucking mob.
I wouldn't let that stop you from it. But also, I would probably go to someone in the States because
I am trying. I've sent it to a few people now, but
as soon as you put on Netflix, for example, and you see that made in Canada thing, you're like, this is going to be shit. So,
except you love Schitt's Creek.
I love Schitt's Creek. I don't know if they filmed it in Canada, but it's all a Canadian cast. But you know what I mean? Like those people don't live in Canada.
Yeah. And I very much liked the Trailer Park Boys, but that embraced its Canadianness. I think that they used their Canadianness as their strength. And another book I wrote, Grantrepreneurs. Oh, so here's the other story about writing. So on a different note. So I wrote this book, Grantrepreneurs. This is the one I just chucked up on Amazon. It's all about like how everything in Canada just exists because of government grants, and like nobody ever actually succeeds. Everything is completely based on how many grants can we get. And the problem is every fucking publishing company in Canada just works on grants as well, which is quite funny because the editor was like, tell them that you're a biracial amputee. And I was like, I'm not doing that, dude. He's like, they're never gonna check.
What's really didn't Dad? Okay, so Dad's dad.
Yeah.
People used to think that he was a native, right? Like
Yeah.
what do you call them in Canada? So it's not Native
Canadian.
American.
Native
Native what?
Native Canadian.
Oh, Native
Yeah.
Canadian or First Nations.
First Nations. Yeah.
Yeah. So they all thought that Dad's dad was a native person. So
No, if we did one of those 23andMe tests, we probably would have, 1/16 or whatever.
yeah, I just don't want to
Just
throw anyone
based
in the
on
bus. I
I
don't
don't
want to
want-
throw anybody in the family under the bus in case there's like some long
If
lost
Dad
murderer.
killed somebody. Yeah. Don't want to tarnish his legacy. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, it was a different time, and he did sell a lot of pot in college.
Hit and runs were very normal in the 60s.
We matched your 23andMe to touch DNA from a hit and run in 1968. Pugwash, Nova Scotia, you say? Anyway.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Mom, sell the house.
Yeah, I do have. I mean, those whole things, those 23andMe things. I mean, all it is, it's for white assholes like us to figure out, what percentage victim we are, so that we can like brag about it at woke parties. Be like, well,
Yeah, well,
1/64.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
think
sure that a
my
lot of research
people
has actually
would
gone
have-
into it, but here's the thing. They did the same thing for dogs, and you would send a blood sample into a lab, and they would tell you a lab,
Yeah.
and they would tell you what breed makeup your dog was. And
Right.
I had a lot of like they look like German shepherds. Like they're
Right.
just the quintessential German shepherd dog,
Yeah.
and they come back with Chihuahua Schnauzer.
and
you're like-
it's not real.
Yeah, and like a picture of, this is what their grandparents were, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, if this is anything like the human variety, then it's all bullshit. And
Yeah.
they probably just have a random generator of countries.
Now, in Grantpreneurs in the book, one of the scams that they got into, because the whole basis is that their company is based on scamming the government out of these grants. One of the scams that they got into was allowing the 23andMe results to count towards applying for grants for minorities and people of color.
No, did they really do that?
No, it's in my book. I wrote it. I made it up. It's fiction.
Oh, it's made up. Oh, it's fiction. Oh,
But I thought it was a really funny idea because how bullshitty it is. And,
yeah.
the guy
so
has
like
one
that
friend who's an
3%
accountant.
Hasidic Jew that we are, we could
Yeah,
go to
exactly.
to Hebrew school.
Yeah, exactly. The guy has one friend, like the guy who got this program established where the government would accept this has one friend who's an accountant, and he wanted to get a grant for hiring the accountant to work for him. So he made him do this 23andMe test, and it was the only one in history that came back 100% white European, and now the guy's unemployable and he's homeless.
Gosh.
Anyway, so I was reading. I haven't looked at that book in about 3 years. I wrote it for Dad when he was sick because he was always complaining about the grants and subsidies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought he would, and he loved it. He told me I had to publish it, so I published it on Amazon. Never looked at it again. And then I picked it up the other day and I was reading it. And I was kind of laughing, and I was like, you know what? This would make a really good like serial podcast. Just read one chapter per episode, and it would be like a 12 episode podcast or whatever. But the problem was, so I talked to my friend Steve about it, and Steve said, "That's a good idea. Send me a sample." So I sat down to record that. Do you know how fucking hard it is to edit from Audible? Like to read, first of all, to read in a voice that's pleasant for an audience.
Mhm.
Like I read in the same voice I talk in, which is kind of raspy,
Like,
very
and
monotone.
Jake went to the store and
Yeah.
and asked for a grant to buy,
I don't do a lot of ums and ahs
to buy some
when
meat.
I'm reading. But like, okay, I'll read it. Look, I met the Prime Minister today.
No.
I didn't want to put the cart before the horse.
It sounds like you're reading 50 Shades of Jake.
Well, I'm trying to have that baritone voice that our people suffer from the lack of.
We went to the store.
Nobody's ever going to confuse me for Idris Elba in any way.
Read by Steve Urkel. The only voice actor
still jet
that we can imitate.
And went for a walk along the seawall. Like that's the voice, right? So when I listen back to it, first of all, I can hear the computer humming in the background. Secondly, this office is too echoey. It sounds nothing like a professional audiobook, and I was like quite disappointed in how it turned out. But I still think, so I sent it to Corey because Corey always listens to this podcast. He listens to the Doctor Doom podcast, and he listens to that one. Or he's always asking me about other stuff, and he said, I said I'll run this idea by him because would you be interested? He said, I'd consume it in podcast form, but you should get a voice actor to read it. And to me, I thought I should. That would actually make a good podcast, but I don't know how to fucking market a podcast, and I don't know. I can't pay a voice actor, which brings me to my other story, which is all about the ATV and why I'm broke now.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
So anyway, but that's all aside. But I would like to do that. So if you
we should, well, why don't we
into One Foot
why don't we do a new?
Gmail.com.
How do you do your Doctor Doom podcast?
You know what? I use a program called Anchor. But the problem is I don't think I can monetize that podcast. I think it has to be, it's ANCHOR if you're looking at it. It's very easy to record them, especially if it's not a rehearsed podcast. It's like this. It's just me talking. But I obviously like this one a lot better, but it's so hard for you and I to get together. I figured I would just put some funny medical stories or whatever together for the Dr. Doom podcast.
Well, you can always set up another Libsyn thing, and we can always record a different type of podcast as well. Listen, first of all, sorry, I know that you want to talk about your ATV, but
oh no, there's no rush.
in my
I'm now anywhere.
I'm currently unemployed because I rage quit yet another job.
Oh, let's hear that story. Now, the guy's brother in Grantrepreneurs, the brother's name is Jeff, and the mother's very mad because he left, and Jeff is having a hard time because he just rage quit his job.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean,
this wrote time, that 5 years ago.
This time it really wasn't my fault. So, I loved my job. I loved it so much. Like, it was the best job. I mean, it wasn't difficult, and I guess I realized recently that it wasn't going to go anywhere. Like, I wasn't going to move up within the company.
There was no promotion.
There was, like it was inflation pay rise, type of thing. But this year's pay rise didn't meet inflation, which I think a lot of people have experienced, to be honest.
This is not me complaining, but I just want to point out I've never had a pay raise in 11 years. It's been 0% every year for 11 years.
Yeah, but
I get paid but
you're on a different sort of playing field.
You're an adult. Yeah, but you're an adult.
So 6 months ago, my manager was promoted and now looks after like multiple countries, which he fully deserved. But they basically promoted the person who was in my role the longest to it's called the senior role, and gave them management of the rest of the team, which was two people. So,
and what do you do, sales, or is it like?
No, well, that's another reason why I left. But so anyway, they took on the management role of two people, but said that they needed 30% of their time for management. So,
right. Yeah, that happens to us too. Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, I was looking after a territory, but my territory expanded to incorporate their portion of that 30%, basically. So I took on 30% more territory. And also they gave me someone else's territory as well. with no pay rise. And I
Right.
said, that's okay. Like, we'll see how it goes. And if it's a lot of travel, then we'll go back to what we were doing before. Anyway, 3 months into this person micromanaging people to within an inch of their lives, like it was getting really grim. And it was just because they had so much time on their hands. Like 1.5 out of 5 days to manage 2 people is too much time. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do with all that time? So
Yeah,
they were
you
just
don't
going
need
through
any dedicated management time. If for
No,
a group
and
of self,
my position didn't need management. Like I
No.
had things that I needed to do and I did them. So it just became like very, very, very micromanaged. Which
now I could see if
leads-
they told her we're promoting you to this position, but there's no raise, she might have said that I'm not working as much. Maybe that's
yeah, no, but
But
that's
if
not
they
what
gave
happened.
her a raise,
that's not what
Yeah.
happened. Because they did give her a pay rise as well because she told
Yeah.
me. They told me. Oh, whatever. It's a she.
yeah,
It's
it's a lady.
so
That narrows it down to 3 billion people on Earth. You figure it out.
so anyway,
Sorry, 2.5 billion. I forgot about what
very
happens in China.
very micromanaged, which leads to a feeling of mistrust. Like I feel like, okay, like I'm doing my job really well. Why don't you just trust me to fucking do my job?
Right.
And it just continued. And the other person in my role that was on the other side of the country quit because of it, which then
So now she's
meant
a
that-
management of one person.
of one person 1.5 times a day, 1.5 times
days a week.
1.5 days a week, and which meant that she micromanaged even more. And like, oh man, like it was so ridiculous the way that she was using her time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't ask for the same. Like if I was put into that position, I would also want 1.5 days off basically per week.
Well,
but
here's the thing. You have to know when you have a good thing, and a big part of that is just not fucking with other people. So
that's exactly
if-
right. Yeah.
If you get into a role, sometimes like I'm mad often because our chief has a day off every week to do chiefly duties. There
Yeah.
are, 15 of us. We're all you don't need management. We are all self, what's the word? We're self-driving cars. We can
Self-managed. Yeah.
we're self-managed. You put us in front of a bunch of studies and we'll do them.
Yeah.
That's all there is. Nobody's
Yeah,
ever
that's
walked
right.
away from it, But this person wants a day off every week to manage us. And we're paying him 20% of his salary comes
Yeah.
from us, from our work while he's not working. But I will say, like, I get annoyed at it, but he seems to have come to the understanding that, look, he's got a pretty good thing. Just don't fucking say anything.
Yeah.
Because if he came to me and made shit for me, I would say, well, you're off. Do some fucking
Yeah.
work. I'm
Yeah.
paying your salary for no fucking apparent reason.
Yeah.
You go work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, but that did not happen.
Right.
So it got worse because then when the other person left, I basically looked after all of Australia minus one state
Minus
because
2/3 of one position.
no, I looked after all of it. Just
Okay, so
not
she didn't do any.
No, well, I mean, she did some in the very small CBD area, I would say, that she lives in.
Okay.
So then I said, look, I'm doing a lot more travel. And this was in a conversation that I said that we didn't need to have, but she called anyway. So I was
Yeah.
just doing my work and she called. And she said, do you have anything that you want to talk about? And I was like, no, we decided that we weren't going to have this meeting because I've got lots of work to do. But while we're here, I'd like to talk about, while I'm covering the entire country instead of just the single state that I was meant to when I joined, maybe let's talk about a pay rise. And she said, well, back in 2020, when you joined, you had a car allowance and you didn't do any travel because of COVID. So you were compensated very well. And I was like, bitch. I didn't say that, but I was like, come on now. That was in 2020. I'm talking about the current, like now, the present. and I said, well, if you don't want to talk about that, like maybe I'll just go back to my contracted area and, I'll just do my job here. And she said, I think we'll have to reevaluate your position with the company if that's the case. And I said, no need. I quit. So like
Wow.
it was literally that conversation that I quit. And then HR, I'd gotten HR involved previous to this because I was like, you have to learn this person a little bit because this is going downhill really quick. And they, after I gave my verbal notice, they basically like said, oh, we're going to do something. But what they were doing is buying themselves time. And because I had to give a month's notice. So I gave the verbal on a Monday, and they said, we'll get back to you. And then on Friday, they said, I'll talk to my boss on Monday. So they got basically another week out of me. And in this time, I was supposed to fly to other states and stuff like that. And I put in for the flights and they were all good. And my manager came back and said, no, we need you to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning and we need you to fly out at 7 p.m. So basically like fly in my own time. And I was like, that's not going to happen.
No.
And they were like, I can't believe that you would disappoint the other territories after promising to help them out. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing you the favor, And it's not my personality to, like, I am normally, like, easygoing, chilled. But then she wanted me, after I wouldn't do those flights, she wanted me to qualify every hour of my time for the next 4 weeks for what I was going to be doing, because basically just to make me feel like a dick in like a little small thing. So I did that. And then this week, so on Monday this week, they sent me an email and said, Daniel, this clinic needs to be looked after. And I was like, oh, look, that was booked in after my finish date. I pushed it forward so, I could cover it before I left. But we were going to do it remotely, and they didn't want to do that. So I gave them an alternate date for when I could do that in person, and they never got back to me. She said, this is a priority. You need to do it. And I said, because of the previous reasons, I'm unable to do it. And then she was like, why don't you drive there, do the training with them, jump in your car, and do the online training with the next people? And I was like, I quit today. So I had 1 week left, and I was like, now I'm done. I'm done now. So I took my stuff into the office and I left it there, and I left. I was like, fuck this shit. It's your problem now. I'm fucking done.
So what are you going to do now? Be an actual veterinarian again?
Yeah, I'm going to do normal fucking stuff, which I'm nervous about because I've, had it pretty cruisy for the last 2.5 years.
Oh,
So-
well, look, it got you through the pandemic.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it definitely
probably-
served its purpose.
Now, maybe the company's out of money.
No, because HR really wanted, like, HR is never on your side. They're
Yeah, but
always
you
on the
would
side
think-
of...
You would think if they were smart, they would say, how do we retain the person?
Yeah, and that's what
that
they
was
tried to
doing
do.
The entire country's worth of work. for
Yeah,
us.
that's what they tried to do, except I said, I'm happy to stay, but just give me a different manager. Like, I don't need a lot of
This-
managing.
I
I
don't
just
need a
need...
manager.
I just need, like, we report numbers to somebody and they get told to, the general manager, basically.
How much to order?
Yeah, and they said no. So I said, too bad. That was my only thing that you could have done. Like, it's like the easiest thing to do.
I'm asking you to save money.
Yes. So now they've gone from 3 people doing the job to 1 or 0.7 of a person doing the job. I assume that she still has 30% of her time to manage
To
herself.
manage zero people. I'll tell you what it smacks of. It smacks of just what I was talking about earlier. Is she a wokester? Is she like...
No,
is it
but I
all
do,
about,
like-
I can't believe you would treat a woman in the workplace this way.
No,
ever
she's
talk about
not. Actually, she's like a nice person. Like I enjoyed working with her before she became my manager. So like
before she turned
she's
into a
not.
complete bitch?
No, she's not. And she's not even a bitch. She's just this. They should have
She
had
sounds
someone.
like a bitch.
Well, I mean, she was in over her head basically because she's never been a manager before. She's never had a team that she's managed.
Yeah, but
And
there's a science to it, and then there's the intuitive part. Like the science to
well,
it
I
is
think
like
what I
if
didn't
she
want
was
to
like,
say is
now
I
how
think
do I
she's
want to increase sales by 10%? Like how can I motivate people to increase sales by 10% in a cost effective way? That's the science of management. But the intuitive part of management is how do I not fuck this up?
yeah.
Um,
And had I been put in that position, I would have done nothing. Like I would have
Yeah.
changed nothing. But
No.
it was all of these traps, and I fell into them when I first became a manager as well. Like you want to make change because you feel like you need to do something.
You need
So
to prove your worth. or
yeah, so
whatever.
she made big changes straight off the bat, which were just stupid. And then I think really she has really poor kind of intrapersonal skills,
and judgment.
and judgment. Yeah, and you know when she's doing her job as a normal person, she's fine. But then you combine that with whatever was happening. It was a failure. But c'est la vie. I'm going back into normal life as a vet. And what I was going to say is I did voiceovers as part of my job in the lockdown for my company. So,
So you will always be the voice of the company that you left in a rage.
Yeah. I didn't rate, like, I still like the company and I really like their products. That's why I went there. But yeah, never again.
AstraZeneca, keep your pets safe.
What is AstraZeneca? Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Drug company. I always wanted to be the voice of the Air Canada safety video.
I always wanted to be the voice of the monorail guy at Disney World.
Yeah, that would be a good one too.
This winters, winters.
Yeah. That's, by the way, that's Dan doing Spanish.
Please stand clear of the doors. Las fuentes. A las fuentes.
It would be really funny if it was like in a if the English was the normal English and then the Spanish was in the good, the bad, and the ugly accent. Instead of like saying it in Spanish, they just say it with a thick Mexican accent. Stay away from the doors,
It's so
racist?
funny on
Maybe
TikTok.
That was racist, sorry.
I was on this TikTok. Well, I don't think it is racist because, well,
Is
maybe,
doing an accent
maybe
racist?
that was.
I don't know.
I
don't know. Is
there's
it like
this
wearing
trend.
blackface but in your mouth?
No, there's this trend, and it's really funny. They go through different nationalities, and they say, "What does English sound like to you?" And people were like, "Arty, you know," and it's how we would speak, like what I just did with Mexican or with Spanish, not Mexican.
¿Dónde está el sanitario? Yeah, Mexican.
¿Dónde está el sanitario? The cheese is old and moldy. And it's so funny because, like, I know that we do it, like, with other languages, but I didn't know that other languages did it for English, which it was just kind of cool to see. So you should look that up on TikTok. I don't know what it's called.
I imagine English.
Fun.
I wonder if English sounds the same as German to somebody who doesn't speak either.
No, German is very.
Yeah, that sounded like Arabic.
Well, maybe. Look, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't put the. I didn't put the. What was that? The city of Babel.
Yeah. The Tower of Babel.
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 It's in the Bible.
Because it's in the Bible. It's about Babel.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice to speak all the languages? I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Jack's trying to learn French now, and it's really bringing it back for me a little bit. I used to be slightly bilingual. I don't know if you remember those days.
Now
I
you're
did
just
a
slightly
lot of
bi.
French. I'm just slightly bi. Well, they say we're all a little bit gay.
Gender is a fluid thing.
I have to put that at the bottom of my email. My preferred pronouns.
Kind regards, Jake.
Yeah.
He
/
him.
Jacqueline. Yeah. They, them. Oh,
Them. My dog is. I've got to let my dog out. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourself.
Anyway, listen. The book may be turning into a podcast, the Grantrepreneurs podcast. So, if you're looking for a book that's not very politically correct and sort of takes on, identity politics and that kind of thing,
I'm back.
Grantrepreneurs. I'm just doing some promotion.
Oh.
It's available on
Grantrepreneurs.
Amazon.
Now available. $1.99. Grantrepreneurs.
I found some really not bad podcasts lately. Now you know about the Knife Point horror podcast.
It is a tricky one.
Yeah,
it is a
it's
tricky
tricky
word.
to say. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I started listening to Office Ladies, which is
Oh yeah.
Pam
Yeah.
and Angela from The Office doing a podcast about The Office. That one's pretty good. You sent me the Tom and Frenchie podcast, which is quite funny.
It's so immature and juvenile, but it's the fucking funniest thing.
They both remind me of Brent. I mean, I think they're like grown men who have not really. They tried to be actors, but by trying, they mostly just sit around smoking dope.
And how funny that they start everyone with their Patreon. And it sounds so familiar to us because they're like, we've done 200 episodes and we have
$200. Midnight Burger. I don't know what that one is. I've been listening to it, but I think I've just listened to it in my sleep. Odd Trails.
Have you been watching the new
stories.
Game of Thrones?
No, you mean Lord of the Rings?
Well, no. Well, there's both. There's.
I haven't watched any of them. I know everybody was mad. I think they said they were mad, and then everybody jumped on them because they were like, "You're mad because they're black dwarves." I think there were some legitimate complaints about the acting and shit in the Lord of the Rings one, so I've avoided it.
The other one that is the other podcast that's really good is This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn.
Yes.
When he's got people on with him, it's really funny. When he's all by himself, it's just awkward.
I started listening to these Q Code podcasts that are all stories. That's kind of how I got the idea to do Grantrepreneurs as a podcast.
Yeah, well, we should do. We should do a short story podcast and try to make it like a serial.
You know what? Maybe I could pay you to be the voice actor because my voice sucks.
We have the same voice.
No, yours sounds way better. When I listen to these, I'm like, I sound like shit, and you sound like a radio announcer.
Well, they do say that I've got a face for radio. No, when I listen back, I'm like, was that me or Jake that said that?
To me, I think I'm losing my voice a lot too. I think I have COVID again. I don't know if that's what's going on. I just did the PCR test. I got sick last week, and then I just did the home test because I was on call this weekend. I was like, I'll just tough it out, and I'll be fine, whatever.
Yeah, you're a real man.
And it wasn't gastro. I can work with pneumonia or whatever. But the thing is, as the weekend progressed, I kept getting sicker and sicker, and then finally, like, I was in a sweat.
Yeah,
it was like, and I couldn't stop coughing. And
my whole family has had that.
I might be really sick.
We didn't test for COVID. Well, Erin started it, and she was sick, like kind of sounded like you, but she was really coughing a lot. Yeah. And then Alice got it, and then now Elijah's just gone back to school today after having it. And I start being a real vet on Monday.
Oh, good. So you'll probably have COVID.
I'm just like, please. Like, I know I'm going to be tired. I know I'm going to be like not clinic fit. And I just don't want to be sick. But before this, I'm hoping that it's some mutation from something that I had last week. I had the worst gastro.
Oh
it
God.
not like it was. I'm sorry, listener. I'm sorry, Jake, as you drive. But it was pissing out of my ass. Like it was just
that kind.
I've never had diarrhea that liquid before,
Were
and
you
just
also
constant.
vomiting or just diarrhea?
I had one vomit.
Yes, that's weird.
Well, two vomits. I was on my way to a clinic, and I felt a little off, in the morning. But like I often feel shit.
That sounds more like food poisoning, though. To be honest.
Oh, possibly, but I didn't eat anything untoward that I know about. The only thing I can think of, and
You get it from vegetables, for fuck's sake. I mean,
well,
I
I know.
always get it from
Well,
salad
Aaron made
buckets.
cauliflower soup the night before.
Oh, fuck that. Yep. there's
And
your
I
answer.
had it, and I didn't feel sick immediately after, but man, that was the only thing that I could think of. And I don't think it was food poisoning. I think it was just that the biology of the cauliflower made it turn into mannitol basically in my gut.
Mannitol.
And it was just like, it was so osmotic. It felt like I was doing a prep for a colonoscopy. Anyway,
That's awful.
yeah, I
Yeah.
puked on the side of the highway on my way
like
to
Dad.
the clinic.
I would commit suicide, I think, if I vomited as often as you do. I would have no hope for the future. You're like,
I
"Oh,
did
just
lose a little bit of
accept
weight.
I just accept that I'm going to vomit violently once every 2 months.
No, that's so funny though, because, well, I guess I did start that medication, and I don't think this vomit had anything to do with that, because people have now caught on that the medication I was on fucking works great, and you lose a ton of weight, and now it's sold out throughout the entire country.
Oh, you
And
can't get it anymore, you mean?
I can't get it. So
Oh,
even diabetics can't get it, and it's for diabetics.
fuck them. I wanted to lose weight.
I know. So rightfully, the pharmacists are
of being
prioritizing the
sparing
diabetics.
How much weight did you lose in pounds?
I lost in 10 kilos.
So 22
Um,
pounds.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty good. I'm pretty
like-
sure I gained that today.
that was over and the supply was off and on, so probably over 3 months, but I would have lost more had I been able to take it consistently. And I've only been able to take the full dose for 1 month, and then it was
Wow.
gone.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
I bought stock in the company Novo Nordisk when it was announced that drug did that.
yeah.
People were losing weight. I was like, I bet they'll market it for this, and I bought stock in the company. Let me see what my stock has done, because every other stock that I own has gone way down. So
Well,
let me
yeah, I
see.
don't know, because I don't know whether it's a supply issue, like they can't get it to the country here, or whether it's just they cannot keep up with demand.
So over 6 months, I've made 2.46%.
I don't know what that means.
But like that compares to my Apple that's down 20%, right? So it's
yeah.
it's not bad.
Well, Apple's putting out a new phone though.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
a shame that inflation is so fucked right now.
they all look the same, but
and
they didn't change their prices. Apple didn't change their prices. on the
well,
phones
yeah, but every
anyways.
fucking one else has.
I know,
So
but you know what? With Apple not changing prices, well, first of all, the economy is fucked. We're all about to have a lot of pain.
yeah,
But with Apple not changing prices, that will help. Like, they're a big enough company that will actually help tame inflation to some extent.
yeah, I don't know. It's just
And those,
it's-
and they don't change prices. That's the headline. But really, they just charge you more for your iTunes Match or whatever.
Oh
fucking
yeah,
service.
yeah. I mean, I'm paying them
they're not-
$40 a month just for space, like something
yeah.
that doesn't even exist in the real world.
Yeah, I'm paying you to use your hard drive
No.
because you made the one in my phone too small.
I know. And the only reason I'm doing that is because you can bundle your Apple Music and your
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
virtual
the
space,
cloud,
and
yeah.
then you get Apple TV as well for basically the same price, as well as all the magazines, which I never
know.
look at, and Arcade, whatever that is.
Yeah,
But yeah, if it wasn't for that, like it just makes it more expensive. Otherwise, I just have to fucking delete shit off my phone, which I don't want to do. So
No, that's not going to happen.
I'll just
Yeah.
keep using Mum's Netflix. That's fine. I'll subsidize my life with that.
I often wonder if you've signed into my Netflix, because then the password changes and I can't get into it.
No, but I'm pretty sure
What's going on?
that Jack is watching, because when I set up Mum's new Apple TV at home when I was there,
Yeah.
I signed into her own Netflix account.
Of course, yeah.
Crazy. And I'm pretty sure that Jack's using that, but under my name, because
Oh, you're getting recommendations for basketball movies?
no, but he's watching, like, unless I've fucking blanked, like I've had a stroke, but there are all these shows that I'm like, fuck, that looks so good, I'm gonna watch that, and then I'm like, oh, it's already
Oh,
been viewed.
No, it's not Jack, it's Mum.
But
she's
she wouldn't watch horror.
Yeah, she's watched all the content. Everything that's out there, Mum has now consumed.
No, she doesn't watch anything that she would deem depressing. Like, I'm
I don't
talking
think
about,
Jack
like,
would either, though. Jack wouldn't.
I
watch
don't
it.
know, like some of it looks really good, like Night Books. I don't know, that maybe it's a kid show, but it looks really good. And I was like, I
don't
want to
know.
watch that. And then I was like, start from the beginning. What the fuck?
What?
When did I watch this? That said, it's possible that I could have watched it yesterday, because when we moved into our house, the ensuite shower was quite nice. Little did we know that the tiles that were on there were painted. So over time, the paint
Oh.
has chipped, and it's black, like black
Weird.
1980 style marble printed tiles underneath.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's what my bath insert is. Yeah.
like, I've been like, oh, this is ugly, but no one sees it. And then I quit my job, and I was like, guess who's got time?
Tackle this.
So I primed it, and the primer's all water based. It was fine. I put the I put the fan on in the bathroom, and then the tile paint, which is like tile laminate paint,
Okay.
it was not fucking water based, and I was in like a 4x4. I don't know how small it is. It's fucking tiny. I
In the
can't stretch my
fumes.
arms out in the shower. I was in that tiny little stall painting with, I don't know, lacquer.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I am so fucking high.
I just get a wicked headache.
Ah,
Oh,
I had the
painful.
worst headache, and I was like, I've got to get out of here. Like, oh, fuck. And like, I've got, because I thought it was going to be water-based, I guess that is stupid, thinking that it would be in the shower and be water-based,
Be
but
one of
whatever.
those, right?
I didn't have any turpentine or anything, so I was fucking covered in it. And then I had to stumble my way to the car and drive to the hardware store using only my palms and pinky finger to indicate and steer, because I was fucking covered in paint. And then I got back and I had to clean up. And the turpentine is pretty fucking fumy as well.
Oh,
So I sat down last night and I was like, oh, I feel so ill.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. Not like pukey, just like the
Yeah.
worst. I felt hungover. It was the worst
It feels
headache.
like you've been drinking all day.
Oh man, it was
I
nasty.
had that
So,
happen recently. So, we've got a little camp up in Miramichi.
oh yes,
I
yeah,
had to
the little camp. Yeah.
Well, all these weeds grew on the driveway. And the guy who rage quit my, take care of that place, didn't rage quit. He just got a better job. He was like, you need to spray those weeds because otherwise you won't have any driveway next year. So, okay. So he said the spray's out in the shed. So I went out, and sure enough, there's one of those things you pump it. You know what I mean? You
Oh,
pump,
yes,
pump, pump,
yeah.
and you walk around with it, and you spray
Pump,
it.
pump.
I felt like quite the handyman. I went around doing that.
Of course.
And I was doing that for, I would say, better part of 2 hours in the heat. And then I thought, God, I feel like really, really sick. What the fuck is going on? And I went back into the shed to see what exactly chemical was in there. And it's concentrated glyphosate. And you're supposed to mix it with a ton of water, which I didn't do.
Oh.
And you're supposed to wear an N95 mask and goggles.
Well, yeah, glycophosphate isn't like toxic in terms of fumes, but it does give you non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah, I was sick. Like
The other thing is,
if you've so used sick, I didn't fish.
If you've used it concentrated and it rains, goodbye lawn downhill.
Well, yeah. The good thing is there is no lawn downhill. It's just gravel all the way to the.
Oh, that is so lucky. I just imagined like this landfall that that would happen.
It certainly worked though. That was 2 times ago when I was up, and this time, most recently, when I went up with Mom, all those plants are dead.
Yeah, that's
the
good.
whole driveway is like a wasteland.
Yeah, it is very satisfying. We've done the same on our driveway, and I'm looking now currently at the dead, withering leaves.
Yeah, you got to wear the mask though.
No, I just get the kids to do it.
Yeah, and certainly mix it with the water if you're doing it.
The kids don't seem to complain.
I think it was called Roundup, but it was concentrated Roundup.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? A few years ago, they didn't think that there was anything wrong with that. Like I remember calling the poison control center and saying, "Hey, this dog ate this, or the dog's been eating grass," and they were like, "No, nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine." And then just recently, they've come out with, "Oh yeah, it causes blood cancer." Like, oh no. Yeah,
it's not good for you. So, yeah, I was going to tell you about
ATV.
How I've
oh, hold on, I've got to let my dog in. Hold on, sorry. She runs away if I don't let her in. Okay, I'll just.
We'll get to the story in a minute. Yeah, the point of this upcoming story is that I'm not very good with money. I never have been, but I feel like I'm spiraling and getting worse by the day.
Jake's ATV story brought to you by Grantpreneurs.
Available on Amazon. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm not good with money. I've always tried to save, but I started getting really depressed this year when the economy's just been getting worse and worse, and the market's been down and down. So all the money I've saved, I've lost probably 2 years worth of my savings over the last 6 months. It's really depressing to see.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to, but I look all the time, what's my total? How close am I to my goal for retirement?
When can I stop?
When can I get off the fucking treadmill? And to see it getting further away has been emotionally very distressing, especially after I just bought that camp, because I was
Were you working during the global financial crisis, or was that when you were
I was a resident. I was a resident during that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything in the market. They did cut our pay. No, maybe they didn't. They just didn't give out raises that year or something. When you went from second to third year or whatever it was. I can't remember, but there weren't really any significant consequences for us. But I remember sitting with my staff guy in neuroradiology, and Bill was his name, and he opened the screen on his computer, and he looked at me and he said, "I could have torn down and rebuilt my house today for the price that I just lost in the stock market in the last 3 hours." Yeah. I said, "Do you want to go home, Bill?" He said, "I think I'll go home." I said, "Are you okay?
Have a home."
You okay to be on your own? I think so. And then poor Bill, the market started to recover, and I was with him again, and he was like, "Well, we seem to be digging our way out of the hole from last year, but I have cancer."
Oh, no,
he did fine. He made it through. Still with us to this day. But he was the greatest guy. He was my favorite person.
A piano fell on his head shortly after he was put into remission.
He was the funniest guy. But I'll never forget that day. I think it was whatever the day of the big crash was, when Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers and all the banks crashed and closed.
Yeah.
And it showed on the news, people were walking out with boxes.
Yeah.
On Wall Street.
I mean,
I remember it was just a news article to me. And then
that timing though, we were able to
Or
buy our
maybe they're
house
built there.
because everything crashed. So like
The
our
crazy
house
thing was here so that happened in St. John, and then they had decided, hey, this is a great cheap city to build industry. We're going to put in a new refinery. So in
Oh, yeah.
2011
Yeah.
or 2011, when I was coming, there was a new refinery coming, and there were
Yeah.
every house sold immediately. It was like a
Yeah.
bubble. And we got our house, and we never caught up in the value of our house, and we only did last year, and it's already lost 30% in value this year,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
fine. I don't care. It's better for it to be cheap to me. Cause
Yeah,
we pay
well,
tax
someone
on it.
bought this house, and it says that and my Amazon package has been delivered, but nobody has been here. I've been here the whole time. Someone had bought this house, and because of the global financial crisis, the deal fell through. So then we were able to come in with a lower offer and actually get it for something that we could afford.
Just
So
take it with the low ball.
yeah, and we didn't have, Aaron and I hadn't been working. So here we have a super fund, which is similar to your RRSP,
Right.
or whatever it's called there. And we didn't have anything in there, so it didn't really affect us at all either. It was
Sure.
just actually made something possible for us. But
Yeah. There's
this
always
one sucks.
opportunity in market crashes. Like when the market's down right now, if you were bold, I don't think I'd speculate and buy one company, but you could buy a conglomerate like Berkshire Hathaway right now, and I bet you would probably get massive returns in 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah,
But I could be wrong, and the
I
market
want
could
massive
go down
returns
another
now.
40%.
I think I'll take my life savings and bet on black.
Bet on. I'm gonna put it all on Bored Ape NFTs. You know what?
Red
I've got
11.
a great idea.
My
I've got a
lucky-
great
feeling
idea
like
for the
lucky.
next big thing is going to be fungible tokens. 'Cause if
Yeah,
you-
that was
yeah.
a thing. That was a thing, or non-fungible.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Now we need fungible.
Oh,
Is one better? I want to funge the fuck out of them. I don't know what that means.
Putting the fun in fungible.
I'm gonna funge everything I see. What was really funny, I was on one of those Reddit threads or whatever, just because I was looking up what these things do, and a guy posted a picture of something, and he was like, "This is my NFT, and I'm the only one in the world who can have it." And another guy was like, "Well, I just screenshotted it." It's like, you better erase that.
What was it?
I don't know. It was a picture of like a Lamborghini or something, but it was stupid. I mean,
What's a non? I don't understand what a non-fungible token is. To be honest, is it something?
well,
that
what
you
is a
cannot
funge?
buy?
What's
Yeah,
a
what is
funge?
it?
I
Do you
don't know.
buy it or
No, I
don't-
think the idea is that you buy it like art, and then you own the code for that image. So, like, there's a picture, a digital picture of Michael Jordan, like doing a thing that sold for millions of dollars back when this was a craze, right?
yeah,
And then there was the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which people would buy like real estate, or they would
Oh.
buy these pictures of monkeys. I don't know what they were
yeah,
buying,
right. Yeah.
but they would buy these things, and then they were the only people who owned the rights to it. But you could still screenshot it. I
Yeah.
mean, what the fuck?
yeah,
So to me, it was just really stupid. But I think I knew it was going to be bad when the word fungible was involved, because I was like, nobody knows what that means. Nobody knows
Well,
what a
I use an
what
AI
funging is.
bot to draw paintings based on my descriptions,
Oh, yeah.
and I just do it for free. It's called Hotpot or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's kind
I
of
feel
cool.
like my
because,
voice is very quiet compared to yours. Just looking
Oh,
at the
sorry.
little circle.
no, sorry, I
Shit.
leaned forward. I leaned forward. I'll fix that in post. But yeah, it says you can buy the images as an NFT, and I'm just like, no, I'll just screenshot it. So anyway, sorry, your ATV.
okay.
Tell me.
Yeah, so where that camp is right on the New Brunswick trail system, and this is something that we've never really taken any advantage of. We knew, our cousin Joel, whose penis you made fun of. It was
Not-
one of two people whose
No,
penises you made
overtly,
fun
I
of
didn't
while
see his penis.
when you were home. Anyway, Joel, he has like a snowmobile, so he's always like, he loves the winter, and he goes on these
Yeah.
New Brunswick trails. Well, the trails are also open to ATVs year round, but in the summer, obviously, the Quad NB, they keep up these trails. You're not allowed on them on a dirt bike, but if you buy a pass, you're allowed on them on a quad, like an ATV
I don't
or a
understand why you
side-by-side.
can't go on them with.
What's that?
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I think
Oh,
I
can you
lost
hear
you.
me?
Oh, there you are now.
Yeah, sorry, I touched the USB.
Oh.
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to go on a dirt bike because they
You
would
used to be
perfect for
able
that.
to, and to me, that makes a lot of sense. Like you should be allowed to dirt bike on them. I think the idea is that dirt bikes are more destructive to the trail, maybe, or
Maybe they make
they
ruts.
wear
Yeah.
one side down instead of the other, whereas
fair
quads
enough.
wear both evenly. But
Yeah,
I don't know. To me, it's kind of disappointing. But
No,
nonetheless,
you say that, and I'm like,
gotta,
yeah, no, that checks out. Yeah.
you got to play it as it lies. So I'd been kind of looking at ATVs, except that I don't know if you've seen this market, but a new ATV, like when we were kids, I would have thought $2,500 for
Yeah.
a decent
Yeah.
ATV, like maybe $3,000 for a really good one. No, $15,000
Yeah,
for
no,
a new ATV.
it's so stupid. They're so stupidly expensive.
Yeah,
and
really
also,
stupidly expensive.
There's the COVID inflation, which means anything that is not work related,
Exists.
it
Yeah.
goes up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, what can I do in lockdown? I'm allowed to go outdoors, so this is what I'm going to do.
So I went through my my wish list for an ATV. I said I'll get a used one, but I'll get a Japanese one because Japanese used things tend to last forever anyway.
Yeah.
And I said, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki. Well, I had
Fukushima.
I was looking all the time on Kijiji this year to see if a used one would come up. And this used Kawasaki from 2012 came up. It's a 650 V twin. It's called a Brute Force, and it's green.
Manly.
Manly. Yeah, it's green. It had the seat on the back. It's got like accessory lights on the front. It's got winches front and back.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? This looks fucking cool. And the price on it was, I don't want to say exactly what it was, but it was significantly less than anything else on
Yeah.
Kijiji.
Yeah.
So it was still expensive. I was still like, I shouldn't buy this. And I've had experience buying used stuff, and it costs a fortune to fix it. But I was like, man, I kind of want to roll the dice and just see what happens. So I went out to see it. It started, it went forward and backward. And beyond that, I didn't know anything about ATVs. And I was like, well.
Is it a 4-stroke? At least do we know like the
Yeah, it's a
engine
4-stroke
type?
V-twin. Yeah.
So you know how to kind of look after it ish.
I understand the engine. Well,
Yeah.
I'll get to that. So, so I said, yeah, I'll buy it. I offered the guy $500 less than he was asking, and he took it. And I was like, uh-oh. I was kind of hoping he'd say, I can't.
It's stolen.
Yeah. But anyway, nonetheless, I took it, and I have a utility trailer now, which I finally bought the bullet and bought. So I loaded on the trailer and brought it home. The seat flew off on the highway. I had to
Nice. Very
pull
good.
over and go get it.
Awesome.
Both of my ratchet straps broke.
Mhm, mhm.
Those were 1,000-pound ratchet straps. Apparently need 3,500-pound ratchet straps. Anyway,
Right.
I did get it home and got the seat and put it together. Got it started. It was cool. It's comfortable. It's squishy. It's raised up a little bit. It's like 2
Mhm.
inches higher. It's got big mud tires on it. But I was quite proud of it. I was like, I own an ATV. This is super cool.
Yeah.
So I took it up to the camp with Mom, and she said, well, I said, Mom, it's a kind of an adventure. Do you want to go for a ride? Because there's a restaurant on the trail system, and I had a pass for it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I will do that. John would want me to do that. Yeah, he would. So she got on the back, and I took her up on the trail, and we got about, it was going to be an hour drive. We got about 40 minutes into it, and I was like, this is smelling hot. And I thought maybe it's not meant to have two overweight adults on it. But
I can guarantee you they are meant to.
Yeah, probably. It was like, it's smelling hot. And we were pulling up to a cross where the trail crossed a road. So I was like, Mom, I got to get off and turn this off and check the fans and stuff, because I couldn't tell if the radiator fan was going, but if you turned the engine off, I could hear it. So I turned the engine off, radiator fan was going, and I said, okay, well, that's all right. Went to turn the engine back on, and it just went click, 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 like dead fucking battery.
No dice.
And I was like, oh, God damn it. A car pulled up, And the guy, I was like, I'm going to have to go hitchhike, because my thought was I'd walk up to the highway, hitchhike back to the camp, get my truck, come up with the thing and push the ATV on. But this guy pulled up and he was like, I'm an ATV mechanic. How can I help? He looked at it. He said, well, I think your battery's dead. He boosted it for us, and we went right back home. So I was like, okay, it's, it made it home.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I checked the oil at home, it was out of oil. Like there was none in it.
Oh
I
shit!
was like, what the fuck? Like I checked it before and it had oil, and I looked and the engine looked like oily, and I was like, oh god damn it, the gaskets are leaking. So I didn't have any oil, but it takes 10W40, and I had some at home. So I was like, you know what, Mom, I'm gonna take this in and get it looked at the dealership. There's a Kawasaki dealership at home.
Yeah.
Because I was just gonna leave it at the camp and use it all year, but I was like, nah, it's gonna break. So we loaded it up. We brought it back to St. John, and I was like, well, if they want to start it, I'm gonna have to put oil in it, because I don't know, like I might have run it completely dry, right?
Yeah.
And I had this like nightmare vision of them starting it and seizing the engine and then it being like an engine replacement. So, but it was pissing rain that night, and then the next day I worked until 11:30 at night, and I came home and Jack was still up, and I said, hey, do you want to learn how to put oil in the engine so that you can it's like, yeah. So he came out, I unscrewed the cap, I put the funnel in the engine, and I started pouring oil in it, and immediately it overflowed and went everywhere, and I was like, what the fuck? It was empty. And then I looked at the cap in my hand, and it didn't have a dipstick on it. And I'd put the fucking engine oil in the coolant overflow tank. And I thought, fuck.
And that, Jack, is how you don't do it.
Yeah, don't do that. I tried to pull the hoses off the coolant overflow tank so it wouldn't mix with the coolant, and I cracked one of the hoses, and I couldn't get them off. And I was like, oh damn it. So then I went to work, and I got a big 60cc syringe and a connecting tube, and I stuck it down in that tank, and I started pulling off the stuff, but by then it was mixed coolant and oil, because the oil goes it floats. The coolant had cooled down and filled the tank and displaced the oil up into the radiator and stuff. So I pulled out all the coolant I could get and oil, but I was like, this needs to be flushed. So I called the dealership and told them, okay, on top of everything else, I now have done this. They were like, just bring it in. So, fuck's sake. So I brought it in to the dealership just yesterday. So I dropped it off.
I can't believe you put oil in the coolant.
Fucking moron I am. I'm a fucking moron. Well, the two caps, it was dark, and the two caps are exactly the same, and they're right beside one another. I didn't even know there was a coolant overflow.
That is so funny.
Anyway, so I took it into the dealership, and he was like, well, what do you want done on it? I kind of went through the list. I was like, the electronics, there's something wrong. The engine's leaking oil. It probably needs new gaskets. I said, look, if it's going to be more than $1,500, just let me know. And he was like, yeah, no problem. I can't imagine it'll be that much. So he called me today. Now, I haven't told Chrissy this. So he called me today. This is one day later. He said, okay, I've got a bit of a list for you. I don't want it to upset you. He said, oh, okay. He said, all right, your head gaskets are both gone. You need to replace both of those. Your valve cover gaskets are both gone. You need to replace those. Your CV joints aren't attached. Your CV boots are both broken on the back. Your exhaust is not attached. Your both front wheel bearings are gone. That's
probably what you could smell that was hot.
That probably is. Both front wheel bushings are gone. Both front tie rod ends are gone. One of the rear tie rod ends is gone.
Oh,
and you need a new coolant overflow tank because yours is full of oil. I said, okay. And you need a engine brake. What's it called? Module. It's like a thing.
Could have been a flux capacitor for all I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's some kind of module. Anyway. So I said, okay. So how much is that? He's like, it's $1,600. I said, well, that's not bad. I said, I did get it cheap. I knew I'd have to put it into
Yeah.
it. He
Yeah.
goes, no. It's $1,600 in parts, plus tax, plus labor. It's $3,700.
Oh no.
Are you serious?
Oh
He said,
no.
yeah. I said, is it worth it or should I just junk it? He said, well, it's up to you. I said, let me put it this way. If you do the work on it, are you confident that it will work for the next 5 years if I just bring it in for oil changes and that kind of thing, if I'm not too hard on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, yeah, for sure. I said, all right, then you might as well do it because I can't get another one for $3,700.
Yeah, for cheaper. Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm now,
The
well
owner of a
over-
brand new
I'm
ATV.
well over $7,000 into this fucking ATV. I can't fucking believe it. I just, yeah. It's
yeah, that's a shame.
mind-blowing.
That's a shame.
Then I got a call. Do you remember last year when Mom drove over my motorcycle?
Oh yes. Yeah.
The old Honda.
Uh-huh.
So I got a call from Eldridge's who have the Honda. They
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, your motorcycle's done." I said, "What motorcycle? I'd forgotten all about it." They're like, the Honda. We had to order new parts. We had to get them from Japan. We had to put on a new exhaust because the exhaust was crumpled where the car drove over it. You needed a new rear brake, new rear fender, new rear taillight. You needed new wiring because the wiring was severed. We needed to put a new rear wheel on because the wheel was bent where the car ran over it. This is a 1978 rat bike, by the way.
Yeah.
Want to know the total for that?
Yeah. What?
$3,100.
Oh my gosh.
So this month, I'm out just in repairs. Where are we at now? So that'd be $6,800.
That's so crazy. Like
Just in repairs for vehicles.
I didn't
that
like that place.
don't even use.
It used to be the Harley Davidson store in
Yeah.
St. John, and I went there, and it was a shithole.
Yeah.
Like it was sad. It was a sad place. So I would imagine that they'd be gouging you for everything that they can get because they've got no
really
income.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, and they would have income from the Honda side of things, but they have no inventory.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's not a bike in the place.
No, and it was
So
all
it's,
women's clothing. Like,
Yeah,
like-
that's all they're selling is clothing.
yeah,
it's really
but it was a very niche
impressive.
demographic for biker chicks
Yeah.
that don't ride Harleys. You know?
Yeah, the problem is when you're selling to biker chicks in St. John, but you're only selling stuff that dentists' wives can afford.
Yes.
It's not a good place for that market.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
you and I went to the Toys for Big Boys or whatever in Moncton.
It was fantastic.
and I was looking at a shirt though, and I was like, "Yeah, I love this shirt." It was like a T-shirt,
yeah,
and then they were like, "Yeah, it's $85."
I know.
Don't love
Yeah.
it that much.
No, I know. Yeah, no, that's the problem. And I've got a bunch of Harley shirts, but they're all clearance. So they're all like from 10 years ago.
They're all from eBay.
Well, some of them are. But
Yeah,
no,
I have a lot of jeans from eBay.
jeans.
One of my- Yeah, I found like a brand of jeans that I can wear comfortably, and then I just buy the same jeans over and over.
No,
again.
it's Urban Star all the way. Costco, baby.
Oh well,
Yeah.
la-di-da if you can fit into those, but you've been on that drug. I can't wear. I'm so fat I can't wear anything. I look disgusting.
You know what makes them even better in terms of affordability is
Yeah.
that these are dads that I'm wearing.
I'll tell you what, that's the best way to get a new set of jeans. Lose your father.
I wear his dress shirts. I wear his shoes. I wear.
Oh, good for you. You fit all that stuff. I probably have more of it next time you're home if you want. There's some down in the basement here. You
I've got
couldn't bring
thing-
it all home, I think, is what happened. So I put it. I
Yeah.
didn't have the heart to throw it out.
Yeah, no, I all the things I took. It's like Dad would want me to have that.
Yeah.
Dad would want me to wear his underwear.
I took all his medication, and I.
Dad would want me to have his amend.
Yeah. no point in throwing out these anti-nauseants. They're really expensive. I might get nauseated.
Well, and the funny thing is that he had the ondansetron, but he had them in 8 milligram tablets, and I'm like,
oh, you know what? I think they only gave him 4s. I've got the 8s.
No, well, I've got the other 8s of his.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
I got a prescription for them because I went through a phase where I was nauseated all the time.
Yeah, and that's I did the same, but I just have to cut them in half with a knife.
I don't even do that. I just take the 8.
Oh, but you'll never shit again, ever.
No, that only lasts for the first few times. Sadly.
Your body acclimatizes eventually.
It does. And now if I don't take it, I nearly die. Now I really need it. It's like crap.
The problem is because here we have ondansetron wafers, which makes a lot of sense. You put them under your tongue, parental kind of parenteral. Not parental.
Yeah.
But Dad's are tablets. So he would take them kind of prophylactically before chemo. And I got to tell you, after you have spewed, it's hard to keep down a tablet.
Well, I always said they should be a nasal spray. Like Peter has developed this nasal injector that gives you the same dose every time. I was like, Peter, do it for anti-nauseants. What the fuck? Why are we taking pills? The worst is when you're sick and you've already puked, and then you're like, keep this Gravol down for 30 minutes.
I know. And the other thing is, for you, Lisa, with my with that drug that I was taking, it stops your stomach emptying basically, and that's how you feel full and lose weight. So if you feel nauseous and you take a tablet,
it's just adding to the.
Who knows how long it's going to take for you to absorb that because it's not leaving your stomach.
Yeah, you need to inject something in the vein.
Well, that's what I do with my black tar heroin.
There's a reason it works so well.
I mean, I don't mind the staph infection. I just wish I could find my veins easier under the boils.
Did you see that the oldest man in the world, the oldest American man, died the other day? He was 115.
No. What?
And it just goes to remind you, always check your cocaine for fentanyl before injecting it. I stole that joke from Saturday Night Live or something. I thought it was a great joke.
Could you imagine being 115?
Like, no. And it'll never come up.
It will never come up. You don't think you'll live that long?
Dan, I'm not sure I'm going to make it to 50.
I saw this like 100-year-old man running a marathon, and he was an Indian man, and he was in much better shape than me. And then I see these, like, the person who I'm going to go work for works out every morning, and he's fit as a fiddle. Found out he's fucking 60 years old. He's in much better shape than me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with our family?
I'm the most out of shape person that I know, like, at work. Everybody else is in better shape.
Oh, it's so crazy.
It drives me crazy. I'm like 250 pounds. Like, I'm 250 something pounds.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful. I hate it.
Yeah.
Every day I get up and I just dread, like, seeing my fat ass in the mirror. But
tying your shoes.
But yeah, I hate tying my shoes. But today, I was like, okay, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a change for the better. I have to. I'm sick.
Because I'm stuck here with the man in the mirror.
Yeah. So that worked until I got home from work, and Chrissy and Jack went out on some guy's boat, and I helped myself to a Subway sandwich, which is fine. And then I was like, I'm still a little peckish. Bagel with cream cheese. Still a little peckish. Toast and peanut butter and banana. I think I'll get a vanilla cream frappuccino.
Oh, God.
So, like 4,000 calories in a 2-hour span when I was home alone.
I do that too, though. I do that too. And it's often when I do try to make a difference, like last night, this past week, actually, because it was our birthday. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday, bro. Yeah, we have the same birthday, but 3 years apart.
Because of birthday week, it was just, and we were rushed, and I was quitting my job, so I was super stressed. We just ate out every night. Like, we went out for my birthday, then it was Father's Day on Sunday here, so we went out for dinner then, and then I was tired, so I didn't want to cook, and then Elijah was homesick, so I didn't want to make lunch, so we just had macros. Like, it's been a bad week. And then last night, after my churro, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going on a hunger strike.
Breaks.
I'm going on hunger strike. I'm not eating again until tomorrow morning.
I every once in a while I catch a glance of how fucking fat my chin is, and I'm like, fuck, you got a fat fucking chin, you fat fuck. Every time I see it, I hate it. My head looks like a fucking thumb.
Sometimes I look at and I'm like, oh, just more of me to love. But no
I
one
never
loves
feel
me.
good about myself. I never feel good. Corey Nixon just wrote, he's like, I wrote to Soren Narnia, that's the guy from Knife Point Horror, and he sent me the screenshot of who he recommended to do voice acting for the Grandtrepreneurs podcast.
Yeah.
So shout out to Corey, and that's pretty cool that Soren Narnia wrote back to him. Like, the guy is,
Narnia.
he's actually a fairly well, that's his stage name.
Oh, but who did he recommend? Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, I recommend Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. Look, he's got a really good, reputation in the industry, and I think he would do pretty well reading Grandtrepreneurs.
If you've heard, have you heard any of those Knife Point podcasts?
No.
They always start with, "My name is Carl Nicholson." That's how he starts every. Like, it's always, "My name is," and then, but he's a great reader.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of a thing with podcasts. Like you and I say, "Hi, weirdos, it's me, Daniel."
Yeah, he starts, but his are all stories that he writes, but they're all kind of different. Some of them are like he writes a radio interview.
But the way that you just said his intro, that sounded a lot like Bill Pullman from all of the Stephen King novels on Audible.
Independence Day.
Fuck,
Oh, you're not thinking of Bill Pullman. No, you know what? We had this conversation.
Oh, yeah. What is that
And
guy? It sounds like Bill Pullman, but it's not Bill Pullman.
it was terrifying.
Yeah. What is that guy's name? Because, you know why? It's because Mr. Mercedes, the show, Bill Pullman plays the main character.
No, that's not Bill Pullman. That's, that's an Irish guy. Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman is the guy who played the president in Independence Day.
Yeah.
That's not Bill Pullman, dude.
No, there's a new Mr. Mercedes. It's an American one.
Oh, you're shitting me. No, well, wasn't the other one American? With the Irish guy?
No.
We got to look this up. They can't have remade
what the
Mr.
fuck?
Mercedes.
No, you're right. Fuck my brain. What the fuck? No, I haven't fucking seen it. What am I thinking of? What the fuck?
You've seen all these shows that you haven't seen?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Between two.
What the fuck?
We're talking from two different dimensions. One where Bill Pullman played Detective Hodges.
Fuck! Is that fucking Mad Eye Moody?
Yeah, it's Mad Eye Moody.
No. Oh, fuck me. What the fuck? I'm seeing him holding up the tennis ball, and it's the fucking show, but Bill Pullman played him. What the fuck am I thinking of? The Sinner, maybe. The Sinner?
The Sinner is Bill Pullman, yeah.
Oh, thank fuck. What the fuck?
Will Patton is the guy. And
what the fuck is going on? It's just, oh my gosh.
Will Patton is the voice actor who reads Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah, Will Patton. He's fucking great, but he sounds like Bill Pullman.
He reads really slowly. And
yeah.
He gets there eventually, but it adds the runtime.
Well, that's how he
but he does talk like Bill Pullman in The Sinner. The way
Yes.
Bill Pullman talks in The Sinner. Because
Gosh,
he talks like
that was just a
autistic.
fucking trip. When I said that and you said no, I was like, no, but it has to be. Holy
no, it's Mad Eye
dooly.
Moody as Mr. Mercedes. That's a great series.
That was so good.
no, he's
so
not.
as
He's
was
in
The
that,
Sinner. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the first season of The Sinner was great with that is the most beautiful girl, by the way. I mean,
I don't
aside from my
remember.
wife. Oh my God. Is it Jessica Alba or
Oh
something?
yeah,
Is it-
yeah.
Holy
I had a mad
Christ.
crush on her as a kid. She was in the Illusionist. I think.
Was she? I don't know. She would have just been a kid back then because she's still pretty young.
No, I don't think so. Like she was older. I remember like her being a lady when I watched that. Let's see.
Let me see here. Cast of season 1, The Sinner.
I know this is enthralling for the people playing at home.
Jessica Biel.
Oh yeah.
She is insanely beautiful. And
yeah,
actually the girl who played her sickly sister was also quite cute. But
the one with the back?
Well, did she have scoliosis or something?
I don't remember. Honestly, I can't remember fucking shit. Obviously, I've had a fucking aneurysm or something.
They're good actors anyway.
Okay, I think I know what's happened to my brain. So when they were reading Mr. Mercedes, so when Will Patton
read Mr. Mercedes.
Was reading Mr.
Like
Mercedes, and he sounded like Bill Pullman. So in my head, while I was driving, Bill Pullman was the main character. Oh man, you can see how things happen. And I could totally understand if I wasn't a reasonable person that I'd be like, I've time traveled. Like those people who are like, I visited another dimension. Well, Bill Pullman played Mr. Mercedes.
And it was the Bernstein Bears, and not the Berenstain Bears.
So I get that because my brain is really having a hard time comprehending the journey I just went on.
You know what's funny? I had done all this research on weird stories to talk about for this podcast, and then I was like, we have so many weird stories, and that was another one of them. Well, one of the ones I researched though was about a donkey that had subjective tinnitus, where you think
wait.
You know how you think you have a ringing in your ear?
Well, yeah, I understand what tinnitus is, but I don't know how the donkey had it.
Well, it didn't. It had objective tinnitus. So it was always moving its head around. It was rubbing its ear on things. The veterinarian looked in the ear, and the veterinarian could hear a ringing coming out of the donkey's ear.
Yeah, well, that's actually a thing, though, because
I assume it's a jugular venous flow phenomenon.
This is really going to kind of tickle your brain. I remember in vet school, we were sitting and it was a neurology lecture, and the lecturer was like, and everybody's ears emits a high frequency sound, but our brain typically blocks it out, so we can't hear it.
Why does our ear emit a high frequency sound?
Like if you put your ear, so because I remember this distinctly, because
just put one ear against the other ear and listen.
Well, no, because Aaron and I were sitting next to each other in the lecture, and we were like, "Get the fuck out!" And we put our ears up to each other, and we could hear a sound. It sounded like the ocean.
Just hearing like when you listen to the seashell and you hear the fucking
echo? It was objective a sound. Like I could hear a high frequency sound coming from her ear, and
That's
she
really
could hear
weird.
it. I know. So
now when
that
you get
is
an ultrasound, they're always like, "Oh, ultrasound is so high frequency that humans can't hear it." I can always hear it.
Oh, especially if you put harmonics on.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, when I put the harmonics on, I can hear it's almost like a feeling in my teeth rather than the actual sound.
Yeah. I told you about the time I ultrasounded my balls and the staff person caught me.
Yes.
No need to tell that again.
Let me just write down. So I've got arrow 6, and now I'm going to say other arrow 128.
Sorry.
All right. Thanks for listening, weirdos. Until next time.
Yeah, love you, bro. I miss
love you too.
Talk to you home.
Oh no! Well, I wish I was home now. I had a week off.
Yeah, a week off.
Should have quit earlier. All these things we could have done. Okay, bye.
See ya.